Hey, hi, I'm Mona. This is Sacred Geometry Universe Video Journal Diary for August 9th, 2025. I'm sitting in the back room looking at the plants. We just now got back from the midday walk. I got my heart broken for a minute out there. I hate when that happens. We went walking to the river where we normally go because there's a trail right there. And I seen two kids that were swinging right there, but I just went about my business. I went down by the lake, let the doggies go in there, take their little dip. They like to go take a dip in there. It's kind of low right now. Kind of don't like that because that means that there's more stuff on them. But one of the kids, he was 11 years old. He said it was his birthday today. He came running, coming up on, not running, he came up on his bike. And he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just walking my dogs. My dog's going to go take a little dip right now." He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "We're going to walk on the trail." And then another boy comes up. He's 9 years old. And he said, "Can we come with the 11-year-old kid said, "Can we come with you?" And I said, "Where's your parents? How come you guys are here by yourself?" And he said, "Oh," that's when he said, "Oh, it's my birthday today, and we just wanted to get away for a minute on our bikes." So obviously they lived really close to there. And plus they were like barefoot in the swim trunks. So, they must, right? So he goes, "Can we come with you?" And I said, "If you want." Like, that was a strange thing, because I guess they were bored. I don't know. And so I go, "That's fine." And the dogs just did their own thing. They didn't really bother with the kids because that's their normal walk. So they go ahead and do whatever they do. And the little boy was so talkative. And so, he was telling me about the park and about the alligators. And then we go walking across the bridge. And he said, that's where somebody hung themselves. I'm all, "What? What do you mean?" He said it was a teenager, and he goes, he was depressed for no reason and he hung himself. And I said, "No." I said, "It's never for no reason. Something happened to him. So he was traumatized because people don't just do that." And I said, "Promise me that you guys will never, ever do that." And he says, "No, no." And I noticed he had like a silver chain with a cross on it. And I'm like, God doesn't want you to do that stuff. I said, that boy, he was probably hurt or traumatized, and maybe he couldn't get help, you know. Always get some help if you feel some way, you know. And that kind of made me feel so bad because because the little boy was under the assumption that he was depressed for no reason. And that's like telling me that you know, parents don't really explain stuff to their kids. So they're under some sort of assumption all the time, you know? And so it made me feel really bad for the boy who did that to himself in the park. He said he was a teenager. And that just breaks my heart because that kid, whoever the teenager was that did that, because he hung himself, I guess. Um and I guess the branch broke and he hit his head on the metal thing, and it broke off, or it's the story that the kid told me was so like, wow, like I can't believe it. And like, people don't explain things, like, and that kid probably was traumatized for some reason. People aren't just depressed for no reason. It's usually due to like some sort of traumatic act, maybe molestation, rape, abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse. There's all kinds of abuse that can make somebody feel depressed, right? It's never for no reason. And I'm just so shocked that a parent wouldn't tell their child, like, "Don't do that. There was something wrong." And if there's something wrong or you're feeling depressed, make sure you come and tell me or tell someone, right? And that's what happens when parents don't express to their children how important it is to speak up and speak out for your own safety. And a lot of kids won't because it's their parents causing the abuse and trauma to their own children. So that just broke my heart to hear that. And I was like, oh my God, you guys promised me you will never do that. God does not want you to do that. And they're like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I just kept walking with him, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, that poor kid who did that, who passed away from depression of some sort, probably abuse, and I'm not sure that there's a lot of places where kids or teenagers can go to get the help they need, not around here. It's so depressing. It's almost like every time I go outside or interact with somebody, I hear some terrible stuff. It's like, darn, like, it's like their own little world right here. Like, and nobody really wants to find out a solution. They just keep the problem rolling and rolling, and things don't get solved that way. And it's due to probably, lack of funds and lack of resources for them to go to find real help that they need, especially right now. Everybody's resources are being taken away, and they don't know where to go or what to do or who to talk to. And it makes me feel sad for the children who have to go through this type of thing, and who will take it as far as that to try to end themselves because they really don't have the help or nurturing or, positive reinforcement, you know what I mean, that they need to survive in this world in the future, because this world is a very mean place, and people don't know how to deal with it. I know at one time I didn't. I know a lot about, suicide prevention and all that stuff because I was in that position before. But I figured it out, though. And I use what I figured out to try to help people understand what it is. It's never for no reason. People don't try to do that for no reason. People do that because they're traumatized or they're hurt or there's been some sort of abuse going on. And it's so sad that no one can actually get the help they need, when they're feeling a certain type of way. For me, unfortunately, I didn't have help either, except for me just picking up and leaving where I was. That was the best thing I could have ever done for myself, is leave, where I grew up and all the people that I was around, because I was just around a bunch of toxic, abusive people, and I don't want to be around them anymore. I figured out life myself. And I figured out that I am strong enough to get through this. And I did promise God that I would try to help as many people as I could. But if I don't know who is it, it's hard to help. That's why I have the tarot channel. You know what I mean? But it just breaks my heart to hear that story, especially from an 11-year-old. Yeah, like, what else? And I was like, what else do you know about around here? Tell me everything, because he wanted to talk to me so much. But that was pretty much it. Oh, he also said that somebody got shot at one of the benches and they have a memorial there, and it's like, whoa. And I guess 7 o'clock is quiet time over there because they search the area, make sure everything's okay. I mean, I don't know about all that. I've never heard or seen anything of that, but what a sad walk. You know what I mean? The dogs were fine. They were doing their normal thing, but I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, what is going on around? Where do these kids or people have to go when they're suffering some sort of mental breakdown? Like, what do they do? Like, I feel like they can't do anything. Like, people probably turn their backs on them. Like this town turns their backs on their own citizens here. It's horrible, All I can do is do what I can do. I have my online thing going on, and I made that promise to God that I would help everybody in my path, and I try to, when I speak to them out there, I try to speak kindly to them and try to tell them like everything's going to be okay, be more positive, uh, try to figure things out, like, I mean, I don't know what to tell some of these people. It just always depends on what somebody's going through, because I'll tell you what, I've been through so much crap, but I've made it through, you know what I mean? And it just takes a lot of mental strength and a strong willpower to really help yourself if you feel like, you can do it. But just wanted to share that. I kind of felt a little certain type of way when I went out there for the walk today, and I feel really bad for that young teenager that he said it was a boy who did that, and I pray for him and his family, I don't know what else to say. But I'm Mona. This was Sacred Geometry Universe Video Journal Diary for August 9th, 2025, and I'll talk to you next time.